Ooh, welcome. Welcome to the Hand of God. Knock on wood. Hand of God. Same thing. Interesting. My name is CHIMAOGE. Government name, CHIMAOGE Chijioke. CHIMAOGE is my given name. I also accept people calling me Moge, my foremost nickname, MAOGE. This is CHIMAOGE's Comments. This is where I give more detailed breakdowns of my opinions and also just experiment, among many other things. If you check out Moge, which is a subset of this, you'll see stuff that is more personal to me, and then also the initial, I guess, articulated forms of my opinions. Again, that's my personal network. And this is all part of my media company, OZ Bengal. Go check it out everywhere. All right, I put up a short. That confirms I have an audience. Let me call upon the entire black race in prayer, and then also my individual ancestors. Ka Abru Oji, Ka Abru Namnal Goha, Ekejim Boa, Weapon Joneba, Sansoneba, Abu Mamadio, Abu Monishi Kalakan. What does that mean? I am the boss of the greatest man alive. What does that mean? My being is 100% the god of thunder. Hard to believe, but when you think about it, can you disprove it? No, you can't. Anyway, I'm not just here to talk about myself. I am here to talk about the subject. I'm just going to get right into it. Here on the Hand of God, I expand upon points that I've made before. One point I've made many times before is that first, I've just criticized the manosphere and manosphere types in general, but I've also made the point that all those types use bad data to deceive people. Today in the tagline, I'm calling out so-called red pill dating coaches. Red pill dating coaches use bad data to deceive. Who do they deceive? People. What kind of people? People that they coach and the general public. What do I mean? Frequently, these red pill dating coaches, and for those of you who don't know, the red pill, at least the commonly known one, again, that name corresponds to an evil spiritual entity, but I'll get into that another time. Thank you for the comment. Every comment is a blessing. I read comments at my discretion. I've registered 3 viewers. Every view is a blessing. Thank you very much. But the red pill in common parlance refers to a mostly online, although it is increasingly in person as well, male supremacist movement, which basically holds that male individuals will never find solace in romantic relationships, and this is the fault of women. Again, that philosophy, that is not me. That's disgusting. But it's out there, it's spreading, and we must deal with it. So these red pill dating coaches and dating coaches who subscribe to the red pill philosophy, either openly or covertly, but you can always see it in terms of what they say and do. These people tend to use sloppy and oftentimes non-existent data to deceive people. I don't really want to repeat any of their foul statistics because I don't want to further spread the misinformation. But this data often has to do with very minute aspects of romantic relationships that they then draw crazy generalizations off of. And I know you notice I don't have my maracas today or any other instruments just because after I do this live, I want to go somewhere and I just didn't feel like carrying it with me. Anyway, I'm going to be the hand of God, the hand of this world, the hand of heaven, the end expansion of the God of Anyway, so the point is, these data points tend to badly expand upon the minutia of romantic relationships. For example, they might give out a data point about the number of times that men under 30, that's a demographic they seem to target. Again, I'm a man, I'm under 30, but I don't fit their billing. They might give a data point about men under 30 not having had the ultimate romantic interaction at all in a year, for example. And then they'll extrapolate upon that to say that their targets are bad. Another example I'll give is they might say that, men over the age of 35 are disproportionately making $100,000 or more, and therefore they should be attractive in the quote unquote dating market. Again, that's not a term I like to use because if you're thinking of romance like going to the store and picking something up, there's something wrong with you. That's not how it works. You're interacting with human beings in the most intimate manner. Like, it's more complicated than that, and it should be. Anyway, get what I'm saying? These are kind of nonsense points. Because first of all, you can't extrapolate upon such minute points in the field of romance and then make a conclusion about the whole thing based upon that. Because when you're looking at romance, romantic interactions, right? Things like that, that encompasses every aspect of people's being. And then that has to be compressed into one area, but that one area is never isolated. Because whenever someone is having a romantic interaction, they're also doing something else. If people decide to go somewhere as part of a romantic interaction, they also have to look around. So you have to take into account how that affects the romantic interaction. That's just an example, right? So looking at those minute points is weird. But what's even worse is just the sloppiness of the data. First of all, most of the time they don't cite their sources, so that's a red flag. And they don't ever go deeper, okay? Because as part of my research into crime and criminality, I've seen secondhand a lot of their sources, and then every once in a while I go in and look at them firsthand, okay? I try not to look at them firsthand too much because it's traumatic. They're disgusting. But the secondhand sourcing is good enough to get a sense of what they're saying and doing, and a lot of people keep up with them for better or worse for long periods of time. And generally speaking, if someone puts out a piece of information, and this is someone who has a very high octane operation, I'll say. It's one thing if someone's in their beginning, but if someone has a large following and or a lot of money. When I say large, I mean enough to attract global attention in a way that a reasonable person could not doubt. Like, for example, if someone, gets 1 million views on their video, there's no way they cannot know that the world is watching, okay? And the world is certainly watching. So if you're talking about people at that scale, and again, you could get less views than that and still be at the scale I'm talking about, right? If someone gets views at that scale, they should have enough time and resources to maybe within, I would say, a year or two, expand upon that crucial point that they're banking their argument on. But if they haven't done that within that time frame, they're being disingenuous, or they're so sloppy they shouldn't have gone there in the first place, right? So they don't cite their sources, they don't expand upon their points. And then when they do give out the data point itself, it's immediately obvious it's not comprehensive enough to make their point. For example, if their overall point is that, and again, this is a vile one, men should not get married, and they go, based on this one study, only 55% of men under 30 have had the ultimate romantic interaction within the last 2 years. Therefore, marriage is cooked. Whoa, you went all over the place. And also, that one study is not comprehensive enough to say that. If you talk to 2,000 men under 30, first of all, you just have to also consider what you're asking about. You're asking about the most intimate aspect of someone's life. You have to ask yourself, what kind of man under 30 is going to go to a survey and say, I'm not there. Like I'm being serious, but sometimes things are so ridiculous you gotta laugh. And that's not a normal person. You're just gonna go up to a stranger and say, "Hey, I'm not there," and then you have to look at the other people. Who goes up to a stranger and said, "Yeah, I've been there." Oh my God. Lord have mercy. I don't know, maybe. Let me not say I mean, let me just not say. Let me just get to a summation of the point. The point is, whenever you see a red pill dating coach giving out data, just be very suspicious because on many levels it doesn't make sense. It does not make sense, and I don't care if it's one by themselves or it's a group of them on one of those podcasts. I don't care who they invited on. Just anything that comes out of their mouth, just be specific. Just be suspicious. Okay, and then also ask yourself: am I supposed to be examining this evidence? Because if it's not your job, just listen to something else. You don't have to listen to every piece of refuse that's gotten famous. Anyway, I think that's it. Thank you very much for watching. I'll make this point again in different forms. I just hope I got the point across. And just to be more positive, because obviously there's a global romantic relationships crisis. If you're looking for information on that, just consult people and sources that look goal oriented. I mean towards a positive goal. People who are trying to solve a problem, okay? Not people who are just trying to attack people, not people who are just trying to batter victims, into a certain place. Consult positive sources, and then also, just try and also, identify multiple areas you want to look at, but also have humility because it's very hard to study that area by nature. And we also have to accept that the global romantic relationships crisis is the summation of just so many things going wrong in our world, okay? So many things going wrong in our society, more specifically. So, to solve that, we really need to solve everything else because, having a healthy romantic relationship, it's basic, but at the same time, that is the peak of being a person. You see, the duality of being a person is that you have multiple peaks. So you have the basic peak, which is having healthy romantic relationships, and then you have your non-basic peak, which is really just actualizing your full potential as a person. And they should be happening in tandem, but they kind of happen in different areas. So, you know, it's easier to miss the second one, but when even the first one is being missed, a lot has gone wrong. So we just need a clean sweep, and we really have to start with like crime and things like that. Get rid of that. But anyway, thank you very much for listening. Um, Pray against the spread of misinformation, and pray that people understand what they're looking at when people give them a dubious statistic. Because sometimes you have to ask yourself who even answered the question, or even who sought out the question. Anyway, please patronize the business. Buy my art. I put up multiple new pieces today. That's in the Patreon shop. Buy my merchandise. You can get things like clothes and also work materials, and I'm in the process of adding more. Subscribe on Patreon. You can subscribe on either a monthly or a yearly basis. The yearly one's discounted in their various tiers. You get different benefits. At the highest levels, you even get merchandise, and you can also donate. You can donate on PayPal, Venmo, and Cash App. PayPal, Venmo, and Cash App. Thank you very much. And also support your loved ones, and make sure you're healthy. See you next time. CHIMAOGE here.